Oilers, you got a great offense with Connor McDavid. So I have them sweeping them.
Yeah, well, I don't think you heard my point. The San Francisco Giants have 3 more in the 2010s than the Rangers have in their entire history. So, yeah.
It's hard to get back and to get back-to-back wins, and I don't see the Lightning doing it here, so I have them losing to the Hurricanes in 6.
We don't talk about the 2010s because the 2010s had the Astros, and if the Astros didn't happen, the Yankees would have won in 2017 with the Dodgers.
He was close to Frank Reich, and they want Frank Reich back, so that's what they got. It's their discount Frank Reich.
Kaprizov and the rest of this crew, Jordan Greenway, who doesn't get enough props. He definitely is somebody who needs to be mentioned more.
Hi, this is Julie Dobbs. You're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our MLB Opinions of the week. You know, the shoe has dropped. The ball has left the ballpark. I'm Kevin. I'm joined by the man that's not surprised by the number, Austin.
I'm not. Kevin, in our first video about the Shohei Ohtani discussion, I don't even know if this was one titled that, but the first time we were talking about Ohtani, whether he was going to be traded or whether the Angels were going to just keep him, which they ended up doing, I said that the number could be or would be in the 700 range, and it turns out it is. And that is a crazy thing to think about. 70 million a year, Kevin. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know if it's really hit me yet. I'm like, yeah, no, like I saw it. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But I'm also like, that's 700 million for one player over 10 years, 70 million per year, which is insane. But I think that just goes to you the value of Ohtani, because I think there should not be a price tag if you want to get this guy. We talked about this in all the videos. This was rare that you had a player like this on the open market. Yes, he is dealing with an injury, but he's one of the top 5 players and one of the best in the history. I think that's fair to say. So I don't think I can quite wrap my head around 700 million, but just you have him on your team. And to the Dodgers to get him, I didn't really want him on the Dodgers, but it could have been worse. I don't know, because the Dodgers are a big market team, but we get to see him in the playoffs, hopefully, which I think will just go.
Well, if they miss the playoffs now with Ohtani, maybe this year it wouldn't be Ohtani's fault because he can't pitch, but if he was maybe the year after that, I think we'd have to have a serious talk about Ohtani and what is his value really, what gets you into the playoffs at all. But I don't think we're going to have that problem. Ohtani is so good. He's so powerful, so impactful. He may not be the best player in MLB history right now, but he's definitely the most impactful. Have we ever seen a player so impactful on a team during any stretch of time? No, I don't think so. And what we're seeing from Ohtani, or what we have seen and what we probably will see, is someone who leads LA to multiple very successful seasons. And this makes the Dodgers maybe not the front runners this year, because I still think the Braves
get a little bit more time. He's got to gel, but
I would still think the Braves are probably the front runners in the NL. But the first year you can pitch, 2025. How are they not the front runners for 2025? I don't know. To have the front two of, I know Kershaw's struggling in the playoffs, but Kershaw's still an elite pitcher. He had a 2.46 ERA last year. That's below his career average. If he keeps that up, I have no reason to believe Ohtani game 1, Kershaw game 2, or Kershaw game 1, Ohtani game 2, and then either Bobby Miller or Walker Buehler. Those are two young guys that they're having. They also could have what's his name? Curly red hair. Always gets Dustin May.
Dustin May.
Yeah. They could have Dustin May as their 5th guy. In 2025, they still have Freddie. They still have Mookie. They still have all these other guys. The amount of star talent the Dodgers have gotten, remarkable.
Yeah, and I think now that you have him, you have to win a championship, but you got 10 years. Next few years, I think you're going to try to do it. I think an intriguing part about this, or a small detail that may be getting overreported, or hasn't gotten a lot of reports yet, is it seems like there's a deferral structure, and they're saying it's a new thing. So Ohtani did it so they can stay competitive and pay more, and it had to do with the luxury tax. So I'm very interested to see do the Dodgers make more moves in the following years? Which I would say yes. I don't think their team strung up by um, money too much compared to other teams.
100%. They're not. When did they ever stop paying for players?
I would say last year, but it makes sense. They kind of they didn't spend as much last year. They probably could have tried to get Trey Turner, but they didn't. But they may have been saving up for Ohtani.
Mm-hmm. And Ohtani stays in the same city, basically. I just... I don't know how Trout... I know that the Angels GM said that Trout is not on the trade market. But how is he not?
Yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, what else are you going to say? Like, nah, we're not trading him. Or, yeah, we are trading him. That's going to deflate the value. So, I'm sure teams are calling about Trout. And if you're the Angels, I don't know what you do. And, yeah, that's got to be a gut blow to the Angels. But you could have done... They could have done more, I think. I think this year is really good, but the previous few years they struggled, I think, with decisions.
It's officially over. Him and with the Angels organization. And this has to be easily my top 10 biggest failures in sports history.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. And the whole thing surrounding it, I was like, oh, he's not going to Dodgers. I thought you couldn't talk about it. It was very hush-hush, which I have no problems with. There were a lot of reports that he was going to Toronto, which would have been crazy to see if that happened, but it didn't. But, yeah, Ohtani is a Dodger, and, yeah, it's going to hit me later when I'm like, oh, yeah, 700. That's more than, oh, that's apparently the same amount that the Rockies owner is worth. 700 million.
Yeah,
wow. Yeah. There are players who get a contract that is worth 70 million over its whole length, and Ohtani has that per year.
Say that again.
So there's probably a player that's going to sign for 70 million. It's going to be like a 3-year deal. And Ohtani makes that in 1 year. 70 million.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying 70 million. You said 70 million a year for 3 years.
Yeah.
But no. You're saying 70 million over the contract. You're saying 3 years.
Get a contract.
You're saying 3 years, 70 million.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to equate it because that's helped me realize that the reality of the situation. There's a player that got a contract that most likely gets a contract for around 70 million.
There's players that get 10 years, 350 million. That's half. That's half.
Well, that's the Seager contract, I'm pretty sure. 10 years, 350.
That's half. He's
insane.
Half as valuable, according to the market, at least.
And
half.
Like, what's
he's getting paid? And this is why we said that we had this conversation before. I remember it now that we talked about it. Remember what I said? They're paying him $30 million to be a pitcher and $40 million to be a hitter. Remember we had this conversation. Every year they're paying him basically as a top rotation piece and as the best hitter on the team or second best hitter now. Because I think Freddie still, and maybe Mookie are better hitters. So he'll probably be the third best hitter on the team, but he'll also be the second best pitcher behind Kershaw. So you're pitching to him as a organization, hey, we'll pay you $30 million to be our pitcher every year and $40 million to be our hitter every year. That's why it's 70 million. That's why, even though it is such a crazy number, I get it.
Yeah. It makes sense because it's Ohtani. And, like, how else are you going to get him? Yeah, we'll pay you what you want. And looking at the Judge contract, Judge signed 9 years, $360 million.
And that's more per year than what is that 40?
It's 40. Yeah, it's 40 per
Yeah,
year in annual average. Yeah, it's
and
just
that's
insane.
and Judge is a better hitter than Ohtani, but again, you're paying him to be close to Judge. Maybe it's 35, but it's you're paying him to be a top 20 hitter in the MLB and to be a top 20 starting pitcher in the MLB. Or maybe a top 30 starting pitcher in the MLB. And that's what that costs. That's what that costs. And not to mention the marketing, not to mention the fanfare, not to mention the jersey sales. This will pay off for the Dodgers as long as they can win titles.
Yeah, you got to win a title, at least one.
I think you have to win more than one. You're paying you guys $70 million a year, Kevin.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not making this deal. This reminds me a lot of the LeBron to Miami. This is the LeBron to Miami. This is it. A prime LeBron. One of the best players in NBA history signing with Miami. And Dwayne Wade is Freddie Freeman and Chris Bosh is Mookie. Or you switch it up however you want to put it. Right? It isn't completely accurate. There's other things that go into it in basketball that don't go into it in MLB and vice versa. But the whole LeBron speech, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, whatever. That's what this is. That's what Ohtani signing here is. Now, I don't think Ohtani would say that, but that's what this is. You do not make this with a goal. Hey, one time in 10 years. Let's win it one time in 10 years. No, that's not the goal.
Yeah, that's not the goal, but it's a fail. I don't think it's a failure or a complete failure if you get one.
I'd argue
but they got to compete. You can't have a bad year. You can't miss the playoffs 1 year if you're the Dodgers in this contract.
I think they have to win too. Again, LeBron saying all that he did. A lot of people consider the Miami Heat maybe not failures, but they definitely should have won more. And people thought that the Heat were going to win more, should have won more. And while they won 2, yes. And it's partially because of what LeBron said. Again, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6.
Yeah.
But I think at least 2. I maybe you're not, like you said, a complete failure if you win just 1. But 10 years is a decade. And for a team that's winning this much,
2 would be, all right, we got our money's worth.
2 is the minimum for you to say that this was worth it.
Yeah, 2 is your break even. How's that sound?
Yes, I can agree.
1 is like, okay, I got something. 2 is, all right, break even. And
if they
you go. I was just gonna say you can't miss the playoffs, and I don't think you can be one and done. You can't do what the Dodgers did this year. You have to be a perennial playoff team and making noise.
What is the talk gonna be if they miss the playoffs? I couldn't even imagine that conversation. Like I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine the conversation. Like I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't. But could you imagine the conversation that'd be had?
There would be so many like takes of, oh, this is one of the worst contracts ever, because people are talking about the money. But like, how else are you gonna get? Like, it's just unprecedented that like a player like Ohtani was on the market and
in his prime
was not returning in his prime and was not returning to where he was.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I did not expect him to the Dodgers. I didn't.
No.
Where did you predict him to go?
I thought Giants. Huh?
Yeah, we agreed, right? We both said Giants.
Yeah. There was a hope. I'm like, maybe the Rangers can pull this out, but no.
I never thought he was going to the Rangers. The only other team I gave consideration
there was
to.
Hope. I would have lost my mind, but yeah, no, I'm fine.
I thought the Dodgers had a less than 0% chance, but I did not think that he was really the guy. I really thought the Cubs had a chance. I thought the Cubs.
I thought had a chance.
I know.
I wonder if Toronto had a chance. I don't know.
I heard a lot of talk about Toronto, but I didn't think he wanted to go that far.
Yeah.
Also, Toronto couldn't afford the contract, in my opinion. Like, here's the thing: the the Canadian dollar is worth less than the US dollar. So they would have had to pay him like 850 Canadian dollars million instead of the 700. Let me let me actually get this correct so I can
Yeah, no,
properly
that's
say
a
it.
good point. But yeah, I don't know how you can complain about the contract. You just got to hope it works. Like this is a huge risk, but it can also pertain to a lot of award. Like 2 championships in 10 years. That's a nice thing for your fans. And if you're the fans, I think you just got to be ecstatic. You have one of the best players in baseball, and yeah, that's just insane.
Yeah, I just let me do the math real quick. It's 945 million Canadian.
That's almost $1 billion. That's insane.
Canadian. But it would be
Yeah,
worth the same amount. It's the same, like,
yeah.
it's not more money, but
Oh, okay.
it's just more, like, can the Toronto pay 945 million of their currency? We've seen that problem with hockey teams. Why a lot of those big contracts aren't in Canada unless it's in Toronto. It's because the Canadian dollar is worth less and the taxes are different. So those, I never really thought Toronto was going to be an option. The only thing that really made me think about it a little bit is Ohtani said he wanted to go to a team where he liked the ballpark as a hitter. But it seemed too far. Toronto seemed too far. I thought the Cubs had a chance. I thought San Francisco was the leader. I thought the Dodgers had a non-zero chance. I never
Yeah, it
thought.
was mostly Dodgers, Giants. Yeah, the Rangers wasn't a real thing. I was hoping, but yeah.
I think the three front runners really were the Cubs, Giants, and Dodgers. The Angels were in it, the Rangers were in it, the Blue Jays were in it, but I think those three teams really didn't have a chance. So even if they
Yeah, no,
offered
that's
him
fair.
the same amount, I don't think he was ever going to choose them.
Yeah, I'm curious, like, will we figure out, because it was very silent, will we hear what the other offers were to Ohtani in the next few days? Which I'd be impressed to see, because I think the Dodgers, the max was 700 million. I'd be shocked if some other team was like, yeah, we offered him more.
I could not
I'm
imagine
very
how historic that would be to even offer
like,
more.
what were GMs? Were GMs hesitant? And they're like, well, we didn't want to offer him a bunch of money because of the injury. But the Dodgers are like, hey, we want him on our team. We don't care about the injury. Or they care, but they're like, we understand your value. Here's your value, 70 million per year. Like you said, 35 for a hitter, 35 for a pitcher, 30 or that mixed match. Like, that's fair. So,
Yeah, I
yeah,
get it. I get it.
I get it. I'm not gonna shame. It's just you put your money out there. Now you got to go prove it out in the field.
They did it with the Mookie trade.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't done it yet with Freddie, and they haven't done it with Ohtani.
Man, but that's a nice. Those are some nice top hitters at the bottom of your order.
No, they
And the
have
Dodgers
three
have a good
MVP
system.
winners on their team.
And that's true.
Four.
And, man,
Kershaw won an MVP. They have four
Kershaw.
MVP winners on their team. And I'm not going to say Kershaw's necessarily in his prime, but Kershaw's still a top 5 pitcher. They have, if we're talking about talent-wise, they have 4 MVP winners playing some of the best they've ever played.
Yeah, and they have a great farm too. So like they can be competitive. And oh man, I would love to see the lineup cards. Because do you have Freddie hitting first, then Mookie, then you have Ohtani?
No, how do you go into an inning, bottom of the 9th, and then face Freddie, Mookie, Ohtani? Like, how are you not just...
You're shaking in your boots. Or
Yeah.
cleats.
How do you tell your closer, go get those 3 outs?
Yeah.
Because it's a lefty. It would be lefty, righty, lefty. That's probably what it was. It would probably be...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But, like, you could probably put Freeman in front of Ohtani, like, and it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I was thinking lefty, righty, lefty.
Yeah, it would probably be Freddie, Mookie. That's probably what it would be. It'd be... That's... How do you go into an inning and get all three of those guys out? Not to mention that you have not necessarily a high efficiency guy, but a high home run hitter in Max Muncy. You also have JD Martinez, who had a resurgent year last year.
Mhm.
You have Jason Hayward, who had a resurgent year last year. Gavin Lux comes back from injury, right?
Yes, that's true. It looks like Mookie Betts is going to be the second baseman
Yep.
for the future.
Because Lux is, I think, going to go to the outfield.
Oh, yeah, and then you got Hayward and Wright. And they have that rookie center fielder.
Yeah. Don't tell me. Outman, James Outman. James
Yes,
Outman.
Outman.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
The rich get
that's
richer.
all I got.
The rich get richer.
And man, the expectations are going to be high, but hey, there's no other way. I'll let you take this one and close it out.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. What were your initial reactions? I know mine was, I wasn't probably as surprised as a lot of people were. I was on the phone with a friend when it happened, and he was shocked, but as I told Kevin, I kind of expected this amount whenever it was going to get released. I was a little bit shocked that it was the Dodgers, but were you guys shocked? Thank you guys for listening, and please catch us out in our next video.